5 ingredient bagels. First, we will preheat our oven to 375 degrees. Next, we will be placing parchment sheet on a pan. The ingredients we need are 1 cup of unbleached all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, 1 egg white. An optional ingredient I use is everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's. In a medium bowl, we are going to first put in the flour. Next, we're going to add the baking powder. Next, we're going to add salt. Now we're going to whisk the ingredients together. Now we're going to add the yogurt. Now we're going to combine the flour and the yogurt together. It should look like small crumbles. If it's still floury, you can add more yogurt. Now I'm going to knead the dough until the dough is tacky. Now, once the dough looks like this, it's like kneady, not sticky. Now you're going to roll it into a roll. Once the dough looks like a long roll, you're going to cut it into 4 sections. Now you're going to take each ball and roll it into a roll. Once the dough is rolled, you're going to fold it into a circle and then place it on the parchment paper. I'm going to make the egg wash to put on top of the bagel. Now, using the brush, you're going to brush the egg on top of the bagel. Now I'm going to add everything but the bagel seasoning to 2 of the bagels. Now the bagels are ready to go in the oven. Bake the bagels for 25 minutes. Now it's time to take out the bagels.
Chicken dip, and the ingredients you will need is cheddar cheese, buffalo sauce, 2 boxes of cream cheese, and chicken breasts. Okay, first step is we need to broil the chicken. So I'm going to fill up the pot with water half wet. Chicken is fully boiled. We're just gonna pull it apart and make it into small pulled pieces. Okay, so your pulled chicken should look like this. Make sure you wash your hands before, but we're gonna put the chicken we're just gonna measure it into cups. And this is about 4 cups of chicken. Okay, and here's the last one. Cups into bowl. Alright, so make sure that your cream cheese is softened. And I have 2 boxes. And then, so I'm literally just gonna cut this out and put it in to the bowl. Okay, so this hot sauce is 5 ounces, so I'm going to use all of it and then use 3 ounces from my other hot sauce. So I'm just going to put all of it in. Okay, and then we're going to put 2 cups of the cheese in the mixture as well. Okay, now I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to mix everything together until everything is nice and equally blended, mixed. Alright, so your mixed dip should look like this. Okay, so you can use any pan you want. I'm just using this one because it's easy to lay it out and bake in. And then I'm just gonna really pour all the dip evenly and then evenly spread it out after it's all in the pan. Okay, so I'm just flattening it out, making sure it covers most of the pan. Alright, so then I'm going to take the rest of my cheese and I'm just going to sprinkle it all over the top and just cover every open area there is. So now our dip looks great. We're gonna put it in the oven for 20 minutes at 350 degrees so the cheese will melt and it's gonna bake. Okay, now the dip should be ready. Now the buffalo chicken dip is ready to serve after we just cooked it for around 20 to 25 minutes. And you can serve it with pita chips, tortilla chips. I like eating them with tortilla chips and then just dipping them in. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you enjoy the recipe and you remake this at home. It's really easy, really quick, and really delicious.
Hey guys, so today on this episode, I'm going to be baking a cinnamon cake. This is by far one of my favorite things to bake. I've baked it so many times over quarantine and summer, and it's just so fun to make and it's so yummy in the end. So now I'm on my way to Stop and Shop and I'm going to be getting all of the ingredients that I need to bake this cake. So I'm going to find the baking aisle and get the box that I need. The box that I use is usually at the bottom left of the baking aisle in Stop and Shop, so I'm going to show you guys which recipe I use. So it's always this box, and this is what it looks like, and it's easy to find. So now I'm on my way to check out with the box, and I will see you guys at home. Now that I'm home, here are the ingredients you will need. So you will definitely need 1 egg for this recipe. Here are all the ingredients we'll be using in the end, which you'll see later in the video. But before you start, make sure you preheat your oven to 350 degrees so that it's done preheating by the time you're done preparing it. So here I am now opening the box. And I really struggled to be opening the package So here's me struggling a whole lot. I ended up getting a knife and just cutting it open because I'm really bad at opening packages like these. So the first thing you want to do is pour the cake mix into a bowl. Make sure you get it all out. Next, you'll be needing 2/3 cup of water. You can get it from the sink or the fridge, it doesn't matter. And now you're going to pour the water into the mixing bowl. Next up, you'll be using vegetable oil or canola oil, it doesn't matter, whichever you need. And that is going to be 1/4 cup of oil. Now crack your 1 egg and mix it until it's smooth and there's no more chunks. Keep mixing it until you get a texture that looks like this. Once you have all your ingredients in the bowl, you're going to want to spray or butter your pan so that it doesn't stick. Once you butter or spray your pan, you're going to want to pour only half of the cake mix into the pan. And once you pour half of the mix, begin to spread it around with your spatula, and you can get a spoon if you tend to struggle. Next, you're going to take the cinnamon sugar and pour half of that packet on top of the cake mix. When you're done pouring half of the cinnamon sugar, you can take a spoon and spread it around. It's easier for me, but it's up to you guys. So this is what it should look like when you spread it all around. So once you spread out that, you're going to take the second half of the cake mix and pour it on top of that cinnamon sugar spread. And make sure you scrape the sides and get as much as you can, all the excess, in your mixing bowl. Continue to spread it around with a spatula or a spoon, whatever's easier. Just make sure it covers the whole layer. And then you're going to take the second half of the cinnamon and pour it on top of that batter. Make sure you get it all out because it's better if you have all the cinnamon on it. And this is what it should look like when you spread it around on top. So once you do all that, make sure you always clean up after yourself because you don't want your parents to yell at you for leaving a mess, because my mom does sometimes. So now it's time to put it in the oven because the oven is ready and it's preheated. So here's me putting it in the oven. And say bye-bye for now. And now set a timer for about 40 to 45 minutes, and I chose 42 because it's right in the middle, and we will keep checking on it along the way. So come back to see how it turns out. So now it is done, the timer went off, I'm shutting the oven off, and it looks so good. Make sure you always put an oven lid on and don't burn yourself. Take it out of the oven and place it on a counter, but make sure you leave it cooling for about 5 to 10 minutes before you cut a piece of cake. Otherwise, it is going to come out all sloppy. And here's the end results. Enjoy!
Carla's cooking show is filmed from a live studio audience. Hey, you got nothing to do on a Saturday night? Your love life DOA? Do you have no friends?
Well, have I got a recipe for you? A recipe for success.
First, you're gonna need some 2% lactate reduced fat milk. You know, I'm not one for spoilers. I haven't seen the first one. And some Land O'Lakes grade A large brown eggs, preferably one from a chicken. Some grade A all-purpose flour, and my favorite banana, fruit. First, you're gonna need half a cup of flour, like this. Perfect. Then you're gonna need your milk. Pour it in a bowl with the flour. Next, you're gonna need 1 egg. Gently place it in the bowl. 4. Perfect. Take your whisk and beat the eggshells right into there. The eggshell gives us its crunchy flavor and makes it more tasty. I always keep my fridge unplugged to save electricity, but right now we had to plug it in because we need to get hot fudge in the hot sauce. Next, you're gonna need to put your hot fudge on your bananas. It's a little hard to get it out of the container, so you're gonna need to try. Right after you put your hot sauce in, it's ready to be put in the container. Now once we have our greatest concoction done, let's put it in the microwave. You hear that, kids? 3 bells. Oh boy, I'm so ready. Yes, just how we imagined it. A nice, big Carlos surprise burrito. In this baby, let's put on the seasoning. Well, I didn't have any parsley or oregano or any of that, so we'll just have to use ground cinnamon instead. So, come on, let's do it. It's finally ready. Bon appetit. Why did I think it was worth it? This was not worth it. Don't do this at home, kids. Just don't do it.
Want to give yourself trendy nails just in time for Halloween? Here's how you can do that. For this project, you will need a piece of paper, Halloween-inspired nail polish, a dotting tool, and if needed, a nail file. The first part is pretty simple. We begin by picking our base color, and in our case, we used orange. However, either color, black or orange, could work as a base color for your nails. Then, we take our second color, which in our case was black, and paint it over our base color in a diagonal motion. Here comes the fun part. We begin by pouring out a bit of our nail polish, and then we pick up our dotting tool to start to plot miniature dots along the center. The dots should look as if they were dripping down your nail. Take your second color and use your dotting tool once again. Plot each of the new dots directly below the first set of dots, and then continue this process until you are completely finished. Add more dots if you want, especially if you want your nails to stand out. And just like that, we are done. Now you're ready to celebrate the rest of October with your Halloween-inspired nails. Thank you for watching.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining. This is Cooking with Matt. My name is Matthew Emmerich. I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the perfect bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. Let's get right into it. Here we go. This is everything you'll be needing. It's not too much. The ingredients listed here. 1 bagel, 2 eggs, 3 pieces of bacon, and 1 piece of cheese is all you need for this breakfast of champions. This stellar bacon, egg, and cheese. To start, quite simple. Before you put everything on the pan, put it on the stove, I just crack my 2 eggs, and I like to have my eggs scrambled, so I just stir this up just so everything's ready beforehand before I turn on the stove. And just for preparation purposes, I also like to cut my bagel open beforehand so I don't have to worry about it while the bacon or the egg is cooking. So I just have it right away. I could just slide it right off the pan, right onto the bagel. As it's cut, I like put it in 2 halves, put the bacon on one and put the egg on the other. As I get the stove going, let it sit for about 30 seconds, just so it can get warmed up. Then I throw the bacon on. You could use 2 or 3. I like 3 pieces of bacon. I think it goes very well with the sandwich. And one of the keys is to make sure the bacon is about even on both sides. You don't want one side to be like burnt, the other side not be very cooked. So I flip my bacon about every 20-30 seconds. Usually 2 flips of each side does a job. You could do 3, you could do 4, but I think usually 2 works for me. And after about a minute or 2, you can just slide the bacon right off onto the bagel just to get right into the egg portion next. But before you do that, I like using some non-stick spray. Spray it right on the pan just because you want the egg to stick. You want to get as much of the egg as possible. I just dump the egg right on. You just got to play with it until all the liquid gets solid and it turns into that real nice scrambled egg that you like. And after about playing with it for about 20 seconds, I flip. I'm a little fancy. I like to flip mine. You could also use a spatula and just play with it. Doesn't take too long. The overall egg only takes about a minute 30 to make. Slide it right on to the bagel. And the final portion is the cheese. The cheese, I like to lower the heat, because if it's too high, it'll just all stick right on. A good amount of it sticks on, but most of the cheese will be fine. Just like to play with it, because I don't like my cheese cold. I like a little hot, a little flavor. Some of it sticks, as I said, but I mean, I just live with it. I don't mind it. So you just gotta poke at it. After about maybe 30 to 45 seconds, you can take it off. Doesn't take too long. And there you go. There's your completed bacon, egg, and cheese. Put both sides together. I like to squish it, and there you go. There's your final product. All right, now this is the final product. Got the nice little bagel. I mean, this bagel that they gave wasn't perfectly even. You see, like, little more bread on this side, but hey, let's give it a shot. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. Some great stuff. What else can I say? Only on Whtv you can get this type of stuff. All right, that's a wrap for the first episode of Cooking with Matt. I was your chef, Matthew Emmerich, as always. And everyone stay safe. Enjoy your day. Bacon, egg, and cheese on, baby.
Hi guys, it's Soph and Eva, and today we're gonna be making some Halloween desserts, so get ready!
Sarah, and welcome back to my cooking show. Today we will be making a funfetti cake. And here are the ingredients. First we have a funfetti cake mix and eggs and then vegetable oil. And I will be using chocolate chips to make the icing that goes on the top. So the first thing that we will do is crack 3 eggs in a bowl like so. And once you are done cracking your 3 eggs, you will then pour your funfetti cake mix into the bowl. You will then measure half a cup of olive oil and then pour it into the bowl. Then you will do the same thing with 1 cup of water and pour it into the bowl. Although it may look very gross and liquidy, you can now mix it thoroughly. Then you will pour all the cake batter into a pan as you get it ready to bake in the oven. Now you are ready to bake. You will put it in the oven at about 350 degrees and you will put it in there for about 12 to 15 minutes. As the cake is baking, we will then start to make the icing by melting chocolate chips. Then, to give it a softer texture, we will then use marshmallow fluff and mix it with the melted chocolate chips. Once the 15 minutes is up, you can check on the cake and see if it is ready to be taken out, like so. A tip is to use a toothpick to make sure the cake is fully cooked. Then, when your icing is finally done being cooked, then it's ready to be spread on top of the cake. Then, once you are done spreading the icing, this is optional, but you could put sprinkles on top of it. And then here's the finished product, and it is all ready to be eaten and cut. And then enjoy! I'll see you next time on Sarah's Cooking Show.
Hi guys, I'm Jenna, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make margarita pizza, so stay tuned. To start off, you'll need the following ingredients: pizza dough, flour, sea salt, crushed red pepper, pizza sauce, tomatoes, olive oil, mozzarella, and basil. To start off, take any clean board and roll out your pizza dough. If you are using your hands to roll out the dough, I recommend you cover both your hands and the board with flour to make the dough less sticky. You may roll out your dough to whichever desired shape you want your pizza to be. I made mine circular. The outside of your pizza should be more puffy if you like the crust. You will then set your oven to 500 degrees. While the oven is heating up, cover all of your dough with olive oil. Next, take your tomato. I only used one since my pizza was small, and I cut that into thin slices. Once your tomato is cut, take your fresh mozzarella and also cut that into thin slices. You will then pick apart your basil and use however much of it that you choose. Before putting on all of the toppings to the pizza, you should take a can of sauce and evenly spread it all over the dough. You can then start to set your desired toppings onto the top of the pizza. When your toppings are all set, take your sea salt and crushed red pepper and shake it across the top of the pizza. I personally like a lot of seasoning. Once your pizza is all set, put it in the oven for about 15 minutes, or until the crust starts to look golden brown. And that is how you make grandma pizza.
Hi everyone, it's Manuela, and today we are going to be testing out some TikTok cookie recipes. To celebrate being in fall, we are going to be making first pumpkin spice cookies. So there's this guy on TikTok that makes like desserts and like food, and I saw like his like pumpkin spice cookies and they looked really good. So we're going to test them out. Let's get started.
So before we begin, what you'll need is 1 stick of butter, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1 1/2 cups of flour, 6 tablespoons of pumpkin puree, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 eggs, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon or pumpkin spice.
So to start, you're going to need 1 large bowl in order to make the dough, and you're going to need 1 stick of butter. So next we're going to need 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And now we're going to need 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And now we mix the 3 ingredients together. So once you finish mixing, set this aside and take out your pumpkin puree. So once you have it, you're going to scoop out 6 tablespoons into a little cup. Once you have your puree, you're going to dump it in and then you're going to mix again. So after you have all that mixed in, you're going to have a tablespoon of vanilla extract. We're going to add 1 1/2 cups of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And then you're going to mix it all up until it's like a nice doughy consistency. The last thing that you need is some spice to make it pumpkin spice. So you can either use like that pumpkin spice seasoning, but I'm gonna use cinnamon. So after you've added the cinnamon, you can also add chocolate chips, but I'd prefer not to. But you can honestly like add any topping that you want to make it perfect. Once you're done, you have a dough and you're gonna put it in the fridge for about 30 minutes to 2 hours, but you can leave it all overnight also. So the next thing that we're gonna make is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. You just take your favorite cake mix and then you add some ingredients and then you make a cookie.
So what you'll need to make these cookies are any type of cake mix, 1/2 cup of vegetable oils, and 2 eggs.
So the cake mix I'm gonna use is Funfetti, but you can use any cake mix that you want, anytime. Like you could just add the same ingredients and it'll still turn out as a cookie. So now you're gonna add half a cup of vegetable oil to your mix. And then you're gonna add 2 eggs. Just a little tip before you start mixing. If you're gonna use like a mixer, like the blender, make sure to like first like mix it with like a spatula, or else like literally like like the flour or like the powder would just like go like everywhere, and you don't want that. So like first mix it and then go in with like the blender. So after a while, you're gonna come up with the dough consistency. And again, like, even though it's like the perfect consistency, I recommend putting it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes so it can be perfect. So it's been about 30 minutes and I'm gonna take the cookie doughs out of the fridge. But first preheat your oven to 350 degrees and then you're gonna bake the cookies for about 15 minutes each. So once you've taken both batters out of the fridge, you're gonna take a pan, and you're also going to take like some butter and you're going to spread it on the pan, and then you're going to put the wax paper on the pan so it can stick properly so the dough won't like get messed up or anything. So once you have finished sticking the sheet onto the pan, I like to take an ice cream scooper and just scoop like the dough and put it on the pan, but you can also just use your hands. So technically you're just gonna take your scooper and then you're gonna take a nice ball of your cookie dough and then you're just gonna pop it on your pan until all of it is nice and done. So once you've done it to one, you have to do it to the other, and you just repeat, and then you just put them in the oven. So now that both of the cookie doughs are in the oven, you just have to wait around like 15 to 20 minutes until they're done, and voila, you have yourself 2 really, really delicious cookies. So the cookies are officially out, and they look delicious. Okay everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye!
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I'm going to show you how to make brownies.
Before I begin baking, I'm going to wash my hands to ensure that the brownies will be safe to eat. This is even more of an important step due to COVID-19. Next, I'm going to be preheating the oven to 325 degrees. Here are all the ingredients and utensils I will be using to make this recipe. Cocoa powder, sea salt, powdered sugar, all-purpose flour, chocolate chips, granulated sugar, eggs, vanilla, canola oil, cooking spray, water, an 8x8 baking dish, bowls, a whisk, measuring cups, and measuring spoons. Now take out a bowl, measuring spoons, and measuring cups along with sugar, flour, cocoa powder, powdered sugar, chocolate chips, and salt. Then, measure 3/4 a cup of flour and pour it into the bowl. Next, measure 1.5 cups of sugar and pour it into the bowl. Now, measure 3/4 teaspoon of salt and pour it into the bowl. Measure 2/3 cup of cocoa powder and pour it into the bowl. Measure a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. Finally, measure a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. Mix this all together. Now you can put this mixture to the side. Then take out another bowl, measuring spoons, and measuring cups along with eggs, olive oil, water, and vanilla. First, get 2 eggs and crack them into the bowl. Now, whisk together the eggs until thoroughly combined. Second, measure half a cup of olive oil and pour it in as well. Third, pour in 2 tablespoons of water. Lastly, pour in a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Now, begin whisking together this mixture. Next, sprinkle in the dry mix over the wet mix. Stir until just combined. Now, take out cooking spray and a baking dish. Spray your baking dish thoroughly with cooking spray. Then, pour the batter into the baking dish and use a spatula to smooth the top. Now, place your baking dish in the oven and set a timer for 40 to 48 minutes. These are my brownies after taking them out of the oven. After you take your brownies out, wait for them to cool completely before you slice them. You can keep them in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 3 days. I hope you enjoyed.